All right, thank you, folks. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening.
Me gustaría agradecerle a todo el mundo por venir esta noche.
My name is Darryl Murkison. I'm a past president of the North Shore Branch NAACP.
Mi nombre es Darrell Marcus y soy el presidente de North Shore de la NAACP.
Again, thank you again for everybody for coming out this evening. This evening's meeting is to try to galvanize communities of color along Lynn and throughout the North Shore, and also around the state. It's a statewide initiative we're trying to bring together here, but we're bringing this particular part to the city of Lynn and the North Shore.
Esta reunión es para galvanizar a la gente de Lynn, para tratar de crear nuestra propia forma de congreso político, democrático, y este es el tiempo de hacerlo aquí.
One of the main purposes of this evening's gathering is that, again, we want to galvanize communities of color and let them know what their voting impact can be politically.
Una de las razones que queremos tener esta reunión es porque queremos galvanizar a las comunidades de colores para enseñarles la potencia que el voto de ellos tiene.
Yeah, for many years, the political power of people of color have been taken for granted. And
por muchos años las personas, los votos de las personas de color han sido tomados por menos.
It's been taken for granted, and we think that it's time that we actually be able to maximize our political voting power, and we're going to do that by coming together and creating a political bloc in which we can make our elected officials accountable to our needs and the needs of the overall and the greater community.
Lo que queremos hacer es crear una comunidad que se convierta en un voto de grupos como un bloque que nos ayude a todos a mantener a los políticos responsables y que cuando cometan errores o cometan crímenes o cualquier cosa así, tenemos el poder de asegurarnos que sean responsables por lo que han hecho.
Okay, some of the ways we plan to go about doing that is basically empowering people with voter education and voter information. A lot of people don't even know where their polling place is, what they can vote for, when election day is, what the qualifications are for a person to be able to vote. Some people don't even think they can vote, all right? So we want to be able to inform them what that procedure is and how that policy can take place.
Una de las cosas que queremos hacer es darle poder al voto de las minorías y personas de color aquí en la ciudad. Una de las formas que hay que hacer es abriendo más sitios donde se pueda votar aquí en la ciudad y también se ha incluido en el gobierno de la ciudad.
A lot of people don't realize in city elections who the elected officials are, so we're trying to inform them of that. Also, how you can become a statewide delegate and when those caucuses take place. All that information we're trying to impart to people so they can empower themselves, so they can become more part of the political process. So again, those are some of the main objectives in which we're trying to accomplish long-term with this group. But this is just a beginning this evening. So we have a number of people that are going to come up and they're going to elaborate on that. And your next speaker is going to be Ms. Maria Carrasco, Lynn School Committee. Maria Carrasco.
Thank you. Yo voy a decir en español.
No, pero traduzco lo que digo o tú lo quieres.
Es okay. No.
Bueno, él dice que voy a ponerlo un poquito más corto, que la razón de este meeting es para empoderar a la gente de colores con un voto de bloqueo. También le quieren enseñar, educar a la gente de cómo el proceso político funciona y también queremos que gente firmen para ser delegados en el comité democrático. Ahora le vamos a presentar a María Carrasco, que ya le va a explicar un poquito más del programa.
Sí, buenas noches.
Good night. Good evening.
Voy a hablar en español y voy a hacer que Miguel traduzca en inglés.
She's going to speak in Spanish and she's going to make sure that I translate in English.
Esta noche es para mí un orgullo y un honor estar aquí, especialmente porque vamos a hablar de cómo podemos nosotros tener el poder político que merecemos.
Tonight is it's a night that I'm very proud of because tonight is the beginning for us to get together and show that we have the political capital and the political will to be able to make an impact.
Muchas veces nosotros decimos que solamente los políticos nos buscan cuando nos necesitan.
Sometimes we talk among each other. And we say
Many times.
A
Many
lot of times,
times we
and a lot
said
of times-
that political officials only looking for us when they need us. And that is true. That's the way I feel many times. Es la manera en que yo me siento. I'm sorry, Miguel, but I don't want to lose that translation. No, I just don't want to. That happens when we do something live. So, cuando hacemos una cosa en vivo, pues no, a veces. Pero lo que quiero decir es que yo me siento en esta ciudad de Lynn. Vine a esta ciudad de Lynn hace muchos años, en los años 80, y es la ciudad que yo escogí. Es mi ciudad, es donde yo pago impuestos, es donde mis hijos fueron a la escuela, es donde nosotros trabajamos, es donde hacemos nuestra vida. Es mi ciudad. Lynn is my city. So Lynn is the city that I choose to live since the early 1980s. And it's the city where my kids went to school. It's the city where I pay taxes. It's the city where I have my properties. It's the city where I work. So this is my city. It's the city of many other immigrants who are here. Thank God to the African American people who opened the door to us. And we know that, and we appreciate it. But this is the city that we choose to live. As many immigrants, we decide to live here because Lynn is a diverse city, but that diversity, it doesn't show in the city hall. It doesn't show in many positions that we have in the city. And we don't want politicians to look for us just when they want to, when they need us. We want to be also people be elected as they are. We want to be part of the politicians and part of the people who make a decision in this city. Lo voy a decir en español. Esta es mi ciudad. Vine aquí en los años 80 porque la escogí como la ciudad donde mis hijos crecieron, donde los hijos míos fueron a la escuela, donde pago impuestos, donde trabajamos. Y yo pienso que es la ciudad que yo escogí porque es una ciudad diversa, bien bonita, pero la diversidad se para cuando vamos al City Hall. La diversidad se para cuando vemos los oficiales electos. Muchas veces nos buscan, pero también nosotros queremos ser parte y ser apoyados cuando queremos elegir gente de color, cuando queremos elegir gente que nosotros llamamos minoría, que en realidad no somos minoría. Si contamos que tenemos aquí 32% latinos, tenemos un 12% afroamericano y tenemos un 5% de Camboya, asiáticos. No somos minoría, somos un grupo grande y creo que sí podemos ser parte de las personas que toman decisiones de esos oficiales electos. Esta noche vamos a buscar estrategias cómo nosotros podemos, tonight, we're going to look at some kind of strategies. How can we be part of the people who make a decision in this city? Not just forget about a state, forget about congressional. We talk about this city. If we don't fix our own city, we can't pretend to fix the state. I believe that we have to start here. We need to look for people who can be elected as officials in this city, not to be intimidated. They need to go out. And we have people who have the capacity, but they don't have the money, they don't have names. But I believe that we all being invested in this city, and we should be part of the people who make a decision in this city. So by said that, I think the next, and this number that David Gas was given to me is shame, these numbers. And you all have that. So the diversity that we have is stopped in the city hall, is stopped in any position that is good in the city. So by saying that, we know all those, and we complain about that, but the only way that we can overcome it, because the power, we cannot begging people for power. People feel so comfortable, nothing is wrong, because the people who have the power right now. So we have to get together to get the power. Nosotros tenemos que juntarnos todos para conseguir el poder. El poder no se pide, se quita, pero se quita luchando todos juntos. So I believe that the next person that is going to be coming here now, after everything is going to be Ralph Edward, and I have to say thank you to Brotherhood because they facilitate this place for us. But tengo que decir gracias a Brotherhood porque facilitaron este lugar y gracias a todos ustedes sabiendo que todos estamos tan ocupados, están aquí. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you to everybody who's here because I know that you are very busy, but you took time from your busy schedule to be here, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Walsh, the chairperson of the Massachusetts Democratic Party,
John Walsh es la persona en cabeza del Partido Demócrata en el estado de Massachusetts.
created a Communities of Color project.
Llegó a tener un proyecto de la gente de la comunidad de color.
And the idea was to reach out to communities of color to get individuals and organizations involved in the political process.
La razón por la cual que él empezaba con ese proyecto es para ver cómo que puede tener la gente de color involucrando en el proceso político.
We know as Democrats that when voters in communities of color vote,
Sabemos como demócratas que los votantes y también la gente que vive en las zonas donde vive la minoría votan.
we know that when people vote, we win the election.
Sabemos también cuando que la gente voten, ganamos las elecciones.
And as Maria said,
Como María dice,
we want to take this project to a point where it's not just getting people to vote, but also having, once people are elected, having them accountable to our communities.
como María lo estaba diciendo, no solamente tenemos que votar para los demás, para los candidatos, pero también que ellos sepan que nuestros votos ellos tienen que cumplir con las cosas que han dicho que van a hacer.
So tonight is the first step in that regard.
So, esta noche es por la primera vez que vamos a empezar con este proyecto.
What I'd like to do at this point is to introduce Dana Rivero, who is the statewide coordinator for the Communities of Color project.
Lo que me gustaría ahora hacer es introducir a ustedes la persona encargada a nivel estatal de la comunidad de color aquí con nosotros.
And this is part of the party's commitment to reaching out to communities of color.
Eso es como para demostrar a ustedes que el partido está dispuesto a trabajar juntos con la comunidad de color.
I'm very proud to introduce her because, one, she is serving her first term on the City Council of New Bedford.
Yo tengo un inmenso placer de presentar a ella, ¿es it her or is it? Ella es la primera persona que ella fue elegida por su primer termo como concejal en la ciudad de Bedford.
And be gentle, this is her first week on the job. Dana.
Hello, everyone.
Hola,
Great to be here. This is my first time in Lynn.
un placer estar aquí, es por la primera vez que estoy aquí en Lynn.
I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am from New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Voy a hablar un poquito de mi currículum. Yo soy de New Bedford, una ciudad del estado de Massachusetts.
And my father was the founder of the Black Panther Party in New Bedford.
Mi padre era
He also was a political prisoner. He was arrested for a murder which he did not commit and spent 13 years in prison. So I very much grew up an activist and only recently became a member of the Democratic Party, right a few years ago, but did work on President Obama's initial campaign.
Okay, mi papá fue un activista y también él pasó un tiempo en la cárcel por un delito que él no ha hecho. So, eso es parte de mi genos de ser como activista.
So growing up the daughter of a Panther, some of the qualities that I grew up with were service, community service. As you know, the Panthers had a breakfast campaign, they had a breakfast program, they had medical programs, they had their own school, a sense of giving to your community and very much taking care of your community.
Como hija de una persona que fue
fue la persona que empezaba con el Black Center en la ciudad de New Bedford. Yo siempre ha sido involucrando en actividades políticas.
And that's and tireless, of course, tireless service to the community, and that's the energy and the thought process that I'm bringing into this position. I very much agree with I'm sorry, what was your last name? Mrs. Carrasco. That historically parties have looked at communities of color when they've needed votes, and then they get the votes and they go away, and our issues remain very much in our communities.
Yo estoy completamente de acuerdo con María Carrasco porque los políticos siempre lo que han hecho es buscar los votos y después se van. So, yo también estoy llevando aquí en esa reunión la energía que yo tengo como gente que está participando en política.
And this is part of what made me run for office in New Bedford. Initially, I had moved out and I was living in Manhattan, and I was a documentary filmmaker by trade. And I went home for a festival and got a DVD from a local filmmaker, and it was about all the shootings that were happening in my city. Most of them, almost all of them, were Cape Verdean young men shooting other Cape Verdean young men. And it escalated to the point where one of the men in a shootout recognized one of the kids and went to his house and killed his mother while she was sleeping.
Anteriormente yo vivía en Manhattan, que es una ciudad de Nueva York, pero decidí a volver aquí porque hubo una época donde que había muchos como crímenes en New Bedford. Hubo una ocasión a donde que había como intercambio de tiro dentro gente de la comunidad de Cabo Verde, y es una razón por la cual que yo decidí aquí a venir a regresar en mi ciudad natal para ver cómo que yo puedo ayudar también con el cambio.
So I came back and made a documentary film, and what I found was that our schools were very much lending to these violent crimes and these violent young men because of the way they were creating a pipeline in which these kids were getting kicked out of mainstream schools into the alternative schools, still not being educated, eventually being kicked out of there. And of course, when you're a teenager and you don't have much money or many options, you're going to turn to crime. And that's what made me run the first time for school committee, and I lost. But decided then to run for city council. I ran 3 times, and the 3rd time was a charm. I'm here now and able to give a voice to my community, which I feel a genuine voice, someone who just doesn't come during parades, but someone who walks the streets, who can look at a kid and have an honest conversation about poverty, about exclusion, and about what it's like to have to go to prison to visit a family member, and my honest desire that every kid that I see in my city is not just a regular kid, but someone I see as a future council member, a future mayor, future senator, and the future Obama.
Okay, primeramente, la razón por la cual que decidí a postular para ser un miembro electos de la ciudad de New Bedford, porque yo he visto que había mucho crimen en la comunidad, y también la primera vez empecé como para ser miembro del comité escolar, y no podía realizar ese sueño. Después, 3 veces después, he tratado 3 veces hasta que ahora que yo llegué a ser concejal de la ciudad de New Bedford. Pero también me he dado cuenta también que los muchachos en la escuela donde que están, que sean escuelas alternativas o no, que siempre hay como un choque dentro ellos, y no me recuerdo todo lo que hay. I don't remember exactly everything. Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be here in Lynn and to work with you organizers, every single person, because I know that the young people here in Lynn can also achieve, and that the city council can reflect what this room looks like, more of school committee can reflect, and certainly more of your police department and fire departments. and I'm here to help you in any way. So please take my card, call me, and I will be here whenever you need me. Thank you.
Estoy aquí para ver cómo que yo puedo ayudar a la comunidad, porque de verdad me gustaría ver también que esa comunidad, los empleados de la ciudad, los empleados del departamento de la policía pueden reflejar esa comunidad que tenemos aquí. Y gracias.
So we've talked to you and hope you have a good sense of why we're here and the background of what brought us to this moment.
Espero que todo el mundo aquí entienda exactamente la razón por la cual estamos aquí.
We want now to open the floor and ask you a few questions that will hopefully begin to bring us together and give us a sense of where we need to go.
Ahora vamos a dar la oportunidad a todos aquí para hacer algunas preguntas, así podemos ver cómo podemos trabajar juntos.
So the first question is,
La primera pregunta es,
what is the value and challenges of communities of color working together?
okay, ¿cuáles los problemas y también los valores que pueden encontrar en la comunidad de color cuando están trabajando juntos?
And we are going to ask, because we're hoping there'll be a lot of participation, that people keep their comments within 1 minute.
Como va a tener muchas preguntas y también mucha gente va a contestar, me gustaría que la gente use solamente 1 minuto para cualquier pregunta.
Arthur Akers has agreed to do the timing.
So, ella va a ser la persona que va a ser encargada de timing.
So when he says you're done,
Cuando él dice que ya,
but this is so that we can get everyone's comment. And
es fácil para que podamos recibir los comentarios de todo el mundo.
so that's the question. What's your sense? What is the value of communities of color
Esta es la
working together?
primera pregunta, ¿cuáles son los valores y también los problemas que estamos encontrando como comunidad de color en la ciudad?
I feel as with everything, we're stronger together. When we bring our individual concerns to people as individual black people, our individual Spanish people, our individual Cambodian people, or of 8%, then all they see is that one individual problem. They're not seeing us as a whole. So if we come, like you're saying, fingers are apart, they're individual. When we come together, they're
Yo creo que cuando trabajamos juntos representamos una fuerza, pero cuando se trata de los latinos, de los afroamericanos, de los asiáticos o también de la gente, como voy a decir eso, de la raza blancas, pero si trabajamos juntos en un grupo, definitivamente representamos una fuerza.
I think one of the values of this is representation. I think that's what we're trying to get, is represented in this community. This is a very diverse community, but looking at some of these census numbers, it's not very diverse where it should be.
Yo creo que es una comunidad muy diversa, pero si tú estás mirando los datos que tenemos al frente de nosotros, esto no tenemos suficiente representación.
I think one of the challenges you're going to have is the establishment wants to maintain status quo.
Yo creo que las personas encargadas quieren que las cosas se queden así, porque no quieren ver cambio. I'm just translating. Yes. Oh. Yeah.
Una de las cosas, y mi pregunta es una pregunta y una contesta, es que de las dificultades más grandes que nosotros encontramos en nuestra comunidad es la discriminación, tanto de color, el idioma.
One of the problems that we have is in our community is discrimination, either color,
Y
language.
nosotros la ponemos más grande cuando nos enfrentan a eso y no le ponemos un hasta aquí, que es, por ejemplo, darnos nosotros a respetar. ¿Cómo nos podemos dar a respetar uniéndonos nosotros y luchando por la misma causa.
As a community, we need to be united if we really want to be a strong team. So we have to understand if we're divided, there will be no respect for our community.
Porque si nosotros, no importa lo que, como dicen, el blanco, el negro, el hispano, dice algo, si tenemos una meta y decimos, no, vamos a romper esto, si nos unimos, tanto en organizándonos como en el voto, nosotros, yo creo que nosotros podemos vencerlo.
It doesn't matter whether we are black, Latinos, Asian, or white. If we are united, I think with our vote we can make a difference.
Prácticamente es una pregunta y también una sugerencia lo que yo
Oh,
digo.
basically, it's a question and also it's an answer. It's a statement that I did.
I think we're all more alike than we are different, and we all want the same thing for our families. We want a happy, healthy family and well-educated children, and if we stick together, we can accomplish that much better than trying to do it alone. And the politicians seem to think that if they divide, they can conquer. Well, I got news. We're going to
Can I
stick
translate that
together.
for a minute, please? Yo creo que nosotros como gente que vive aquí en la ciudad de Lynn tenemos los mismos problemas, los mismos valores, por ejemplo. Queremos como buena educación para nuestros hijos y también, pero los políticos lo que ellos quieren es dividirnos para que ellos puedan seguir con su misma charla, como dicen.
Yo también tengo siempre querido que la educación sea una de las primeras para todos en esta ciudad.
I also want to see education should be one of the main priorities in our city.
Y tengo mucha preocupación porque muchas escuelas están sobrepobladas y ellos están al tanto de eso y no las quieren reubicar a los niños.
One of the problems that we had is our schools, most likely they are overcrowded. So, and then there's no way that our children could receive a quality education. Que los niños no pueden recibir una educación de buena calidad.
No es igual.
I just want to make a comment. I think part of the communities of color is to catch in on the momentum that we've had in the last election. President Obama got elected basically on the vote of the communities of color.
Yo quiero que esa comunidad, la comunidad de color aquí en la ciudad de Lynn, que siga con el momentum que nosotros tuvimos, que llegamos a tener durante las elecciones pasadas con el presidente Obama. Y él ganó las elecciones con los votos de la clase minoría, de la gente de la clase minoría.
And one of the areas where our community can be powerful as individuals is to participate in the system.
Una de las maneras que podríamos ser, por ejemplo, una voz es participando en el proceso electoral.
For example, there's 5 candidates for governor now.
¿Es what?
5 candidates for governor.
Por ejemplo, hay 5 candidatos para la posición de gobernador en el estado de Massachusetts.
I'm not sure if everybody is a Democrat or it doesn't matter, but one of the ways to have a voice is to participate in the Democratic as a delegate in the Democratic Party.
Yo no sé si todo el mundo aquí son demócratas o republicanos, pero la cosa que yo quiero que todo el mundo sepan es que tenemos que participar en la próxima elección que
And for example, if you like one of the candidates who was running for governor,
si te gusta uno de los candidatos que están postulando para ser gobernador,
you can become an add-on to the caucus, to go to the convention.
tú puedes ser como una de las personas que pueden agregar para ser delegado para la convención, la próxima convención.
And if you go as a delegate, that's the only time in which you become powerful because those candidates for governor will come to you.
Si tú llegas a ser delegados, es así que tú vas a tener como muchas potencias, porque esos candidatos van a tratar de acercarse para que puedan conseguir los votos de la gente en tu comunidad.
They're going to ask you for your vote.
Y ellos te van a preguntar por tus votos.
And then that's when you can say, if you become governor, I want to deal with the issues. I want
Y
to.
también así usted puede preguntar a ellos, si yo tengo mis votos, me gustaría que tú tratas de ayudar a nuestra comunidad y tratar de hacer cosas que favorecen a nuestra comunidad.
Issues like school, whatever your issue is, you tell them, if I vote for you, will you work on the issue of school crowding, for example?
So, por ejemplo, si yo voto por usted, quiero saber si usted...
I'll be up in a minute.
Okay.
I'll be up in a minute.
He said, yeah. Él dijo también que si, por ejemplo, yo llego a votar por usted, si tú vas a usar, yo no quiero que los candidatos usen nuestros votos solamente para los tiempos de las elecciones. Ese señor viene a decir que, por ejemplo, si su gente como delegados llegan a votar por un candidato, quiere que ese candidato pueda también hablar de los problemas que tenemos en la comunidad. Por ejemplo, una de las problemas, esa señora dice ahorita, es la educación. Por ejemplo, las clases que están, que no tienen suficientes espacios para los alumnos.
Or any issues that I know I'm
No, I want you to complete it, but you notice he's gone for more than a minute, right? Okay, that's because, no, that's because, let me introduce you. No, I want to introduce you. This is Ricky Corca, who is a state committee person and one of the people who helped organize this event. He came late, so he wasn't up here with us, and he wanted, and you're making a very good point about how people can participate.
Normalmente, para que una persona pueda hacer una pregunta es solamente por un minuto. Pero como Rick, una persona que está representando al Estado, llegó un poquito tarde, nosotros le vamos a dar la oportunidad para que él no sabía exactamente de lo que estábamos hablando al principio. Ahora vamos a darle la oportunidad para que pueda seguir con.
Just I want to finalize. You can have a vote and you can have power. You can participate in the system. That's all I'm saying.
Quiero finalizar diciendo que ustedes pueden votar, ustedes pueden tener como un poder votando por los candidatos que van a hablar de sus problemas.
Ahora mismo tenemos aplicaciones para personas que quieren todavía ser delegados. Las tenemos y lo tenemos también, tenemos huevas, si hay personas que no pueden pagar, también lo tenemos ahí, los formularios están en la mesa. Si hay personas que todavía quieren ser delegados, pueden.
Okay, we still have application for people that are willing to become delegates. So, and then also in some cases, if you don't have the money, we have a fee waiver. So we have them right there in the back row. So if you're interested, feel free to.
Muchas veces decimos que nuestra gente no. I just want to say something about our people that sometimes, due to the fact that they have two jobs, it's so difficult to get involved. But also because some of those our people don't speak the language. It's difficult to be in a meeting where they can understand what we say. And so how can we expect people to be involved if we don't have translation in some meetings that we have in our community? It's difficult. And I'm talking about people who speak Spanish, can be Khmer, and things like that. This is a very good city with diversity community, and we need that translation so we can feel welcome. We are not going to feel welcome if we don't understand the language and what we're talking about. Even there are many people who are American citizens that they don't speak English, but they are American citizens. So if we want to be involved, if we want people to be involved, we need to make people to feel also welcome by providing the tools that they need in order for them to be involved. Y ahora lo voy a decir en español porque yo empecé español e inglés. Que queremos decirles que hay muchas personas que quieren estar envueltas, pero muchas de nuestras personas no hablan el inglés, a pesar de que sí somos ciudadanos americanos. También tenemos 2 trabajos, se nos hace difícil, pero si queremos, si el Partido Demócrata quiere que nosotros estemos envueltos, debe también hacer que nosotros nos sintamos cómodos con ellos, proveyendo las herramientas necesarias para que nosotros aprendamos, porque estamos hablando de ser delegados, pero ni siquiera sabemos quiénes son los candidatos, ni siquiera sabemos los nombres. We are talking about delegate, but we don't know who are the candidates. We don't know even why the rules. We don't know the responsibilities as a delegate, because many people don't get involved because they don't speak the language, even if they're American citizens. Because we have a Democrat Party that don't provide the tools that we need in communities like Lynn.
While we're on the topic of ways of participating, I'm going to ask that we have another mention. And here tonight is Agnes Rico, who's the chairperson of the Lynn Democratic City Committee. And you could, if you would, tell folks how they could get involved with the committee.
Hi, I'm Agnes, and it's nice to be here. Thank you very much, Laura. The Lynn Democratic City Committee, there are 7 wards in the city of Lynn, and each ward has a committee. It consists of 35 members, and when...
Can I translate for them for people that speak only Spanish? Mi nombre es, el nombre de ella, que yo soy varón y es hembra. Mi nombre es Agnes Rico, yo soy la persona encargada del Partido Demócrata aquí en la ciudad de Lynn. Y la ciudad de Lynn tiene 7 zonas y cada zona tiene 35 members, yeah. Miembros.
35 members, right?
Mm.
But we have associate members, so it can go beyond 35 members.
Puede ser más que 35 porque tenemos miembros asociados también.
And we encourage everyone, if they are interested in getting involved in electing delegates, to find out how to run to be a delegate to the state convention, please get in touch with us. We have ward chairs in their own respective wards.
Si cualquier persona que está interesada a ser parte del Partido Demócrata como delegados o también miembros, también persona encargada también de la zona, de ser como persona encargada de una zona, por favor trata de comunicar con nosotros.
And we have members here tonight.
Y tenemos también miembros aquí esta noche.
Maria Carrasco,
María
member
Carrasco,
of the Ward 1 Committee.
que es miembro de la zona 1 del comité de la zona 1.
Laura McGaughy Marquez.
Laura
Ward
McGay Márquez de la zona 2, de la zona 3.
Darrell Murkison, member of Ward 2.
Darrell Murkison, miembro de la zona 2.
Jake Keel, Malaysian Ward 5.
Jake Keel por la zona 5.
And Hong Net, is Hong here? Ward 7.
Hong Net, el actual concejal de la ciudad, que es por la zona 7.
Brenda Womack, Ward 6.
And Brenda Womack por la zona 6.
And I don't know if I'm missing anyone.
No sé qué sí, falta alguna persona.
Ron Mendez, Ron Morayu, Ward 3. He's also the chair of Ward 3.
Juan Méndez es la persona encargada por la zona 3.
Jamie Figueroa, who's a new member in Ward 7.
Jamie Figueroa, que es un nuevo miembro por la zona 7.
We try to reach out. We are very, very welcoming. We would love people to be involved. If you have any questions, you can reach me through Darrell or Maria or through Ralph Edwards. They can always get in touch with me. We try to put our meetings in the newspapers.
Estamos tratando de cualquier manera. Pero si usted tiene cualquier pregunta, por favor, trata de hablar con uno de esas personas que vengo de hablar, por ejemplo, Dell, María, el nuevo miembro, y también estamos tratando de ver cómo que podemos poner para que la gente pueda saber de nuestras actividades en el periódico.
Unfortunately, it always doesn't work.
Pero desafortunadamente eso no trabaja siempre.
The Lynn Journal treats us very, very nicely when we try to get notices in the newspaper.
Cuando tenemos algunas noticias, siempre usamos el Lynn Journal porque ellos nos tratan muy bien.
But again, I also brought forms here that add on delegates.
Yo tengo también aplicaciones para la gente que están interesados para ser delegados.
And I have forms also for young people, 35 years and younger.
Yo tengo también aplicaciones para los jóvenes de 35 para abajo.
So you can, I have them, they're all back here, you can fill them out and get them to the party. There's no guarantee. The caucuses are all over now.
Okay.
And these are just add-on forms.
Ya no hay garantía, pero también el caucus ya se acabó. So, that's
Well,
it.
Call me anytime.
Llámame cuando quieras.
Thank you. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
can I tell them when our next meeting is, please? Monday, March 10,
La próxima reunión del Partido Demócrata de la Ciudad de Lynn es el próximo lunes, el 10 de marzo,
7 o'clock at the Hibernian Hall.
a las 7 de la noche en Hibernian Hall.
We're going to meet again. We have 2 candidates running for statewide office there.
Tenemos dos candidatos que están postulando por dos posiciones a nivel estatal.
Tom Conroy,
Tom Conley, uno de ellos se llama.
Tom Conroy, who's running for treasurer, state treasurer.
Tom, what's the name again?
C-O-N-R-O-Y,
Oh,
Conroy.
Conroy, también que está postulando para ser tesoro a nivel estatal.
And also,
Tesorero, yeah,
and
thank you.
also Warren Tolman, who's
And-
running for Attorney General.
Y-
They will be our speakers
y-
Monday night.
Y Warren Tolman, I don't know if he's really tall, Warren Tolman, que también está postulando para ser abogado general por el estado de Massachusetts.
In every meeting, we try to have speakers come, especially now, since they're running for office.
Y por cada reunión vamos a tratar de ver si podemos traer a alguien que puede hablar, uno de las personas que están electados, que son uno de los oficiales para comunicar con la comunidad.
Good.
I have a question of Agnes. Are those meetings translated?
We have people who are of Spanish descent who could translate if it was needed, yes.
So, esta señora viene de preguntar que si esas reuniones hay alguien que puede traducir. Y la persona, Agnes Rico, dice que contestaba diciendo que tenemos gentes que están dispuestos para traducir.
So we've had an opportunity to hear of, as Rick suggested, ways of participating in the process by being a delegate to the convention, joining the city committee. And let's go back to some of the ideas that were coming out of the audience of what are some of the values of coming together as communities of color. Several people have mentioned how there's a stronger voice, how the politicians and others are more likely to listen as we speak in one voice. And what are some of the challenges in coming together as well? Do folks have other comments on that?
Okay, go ahead, say it again because I was,
Oh,
please, please.
we're going back to the questions
Yeah.
before. What are some of the challenges of us working together as communities of color?
¿Cuáles son los problemas que encontramos trabajando juntos como gente de la comunidad de color? I can answer that question. I can make a statement also if you don't mind. Okay. What I personally think there's a lack of inclusiveness in the city from people of color. And one of the main reasons, I think, is people don't feel welcome in the Democratic, not in the Democratic Party, but in the Democratic community in the city of Lynn. It is a fact. What I would say about this, and I will translate also for those of you, for you folks in Spanish also. As you can see, when President Obama was running for the first time, the Democratic Committee in Lynn sided with Hillary Clinton, which I personally think it should be neutral. Then, even when he won the primary, I never seen, and probably you guys should be witnesses, nothing being done was done for him on his behalf. It is also the same thing for our governor, Deval Patrick. But also, what I realized also here in Lynn, and also most of you could also say if it's true or not, you have to have certain name in order for them to support you, which is wrong. For instance, Jack Keogh, which is highly active in the Democratic Committee, was running for Ward 5. He never got any support from the Democratic Committee. Maria Carrasco, which also another school committee members, never received any support from the Democratic Committee. This is wrong. We need to address those also. Not only that also is, I believe if we want to see changes, the Democratic Committee in Lynn need to have new leadership, because what we have now, it's not working.
Yes.
Last election, last year election.
Will you please translate that?
Okay. Lo que vengo a decir que los problemas que estamos confrontando aquí en la ciudad de Lynn, porque tenemos un partido demócrata que no está apoyando a la gente de la clase minoría o la gente de color. Por ejemplo, Jack Keogh, el año pasado, una persona que está muy involucrado en el Partido Demócrata como miembro, no recibió ningún apoyo del Partido Demócrata. Tenemos también a María Carrasco, que es miembro del comité escolar y también miembro del Partido Demócrata aquí en Lynn. Nunca, en ningún momento, el Partido Demócrata de la ciudad de Lynn lo han apoyado. Eso es a nivel local. A nivel federal y también a nivel estatal. Cuando el presidente Obama estaba postulando por la primera vez para ser presidente de nuestro país, nunca no he visto, y yo creo que cada persona aquí puede decir exactamente igual, que han hecho algo para el presidente Obama, tampoco para nuestro gobernador Deval Patrick. Yo creo que eso no es bueno. Si el Partido Demócrata quiere ver que la comunidad de la clase minoría o de color involucra, ellos tienen también que apoyar a todo el mundo, no solamente gente que tiene nombres. And I think it's wrong, and I'm going to finish to make my point quickly. You have to have certain names in order for the Democratic Party in Lynn to help you. Because Jack Keogh, I was helping him during his campaign as a member of the Democratic Party. He was told, no, we're going to be neutral. In the meantime, what I saw is member of the Democratic Party holding side for a candidate, which they never hold side for Maria Carrasco, never hold side for Homenet, never hold side for Ron Mendez, never hold side for Jack Keogh. That is wrong. You cannot just use our vote only and expecting us to do well. Not only that also is, the last election, no, well, I have 1 minute, but let me finish to make my point. This is really crucial, that one. The last election, the Democratic Party in Lynn committee, not the Democratic Party in Lynn, instead of helping the Democratic candidate, they went and helped the candidate from another party. If you call yourself Democrat, you should be able to help the Democratic candidates. That's what I have to say. La última elecciones, I'm going to translate for those of you folks in Spanish. Durante las últimas elecciones, el Partido Demócrata de la ciudad de Lynn ha cometido un error tan grande. Si tú eres demócrata, tú tienes que apoyar a los candidatos demócratas. ¿Qué han hecho? No ayudaban al Partido Demócrata de la ciudad de Lynn, apoyaban a un candidato que no es demócrata. Así te puede ver. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, thank you. So a lot has been said just now. And we, you know, if we are going to work together and work effectively, opinions have to be stated, and opinions are that. I'm not that involved in Lynn, so I don't know the details of how things have happened.
So mucho se ha dicho ahorita. Él no está involucrado en las cosas políticas aquí en Lynn, pero hay opiniones y gente va a tener sus opiniones y son opiniones de ellos mismos. So necesitamos que entrar en cosas como unificados y necesitamos que tener una meta y la meta necesita que ser la misma o con unificación en la mente.
And so this isn't the moment, as I see it, where we need to get into detail in discussing history, but rather we need to talk about how do we move forward.
Este no es un momento que nosotros necesitamos que empezar a discutir lo que ha pasado en el pasado, necesitamos que enfocarnos nosotros en las cosas del presente.
Because certainly the invitation is extended to everyone to be part of the city committee. And when you're participating in the committee, you have a vote, and you have a say in what happens.
So, la invitación ahora es asegurar que nosotros todos estemos enfocados en que todos podemos ser parte de lo que está pasando en las cosas de la ciudad y cómo nuestros votos pueden contar.
Jim, did you want to make a comment?
1 minute.
Yep.
I just want to say that I've been campaigning my whole life. It's just a great way to meet people and make friends. Laura, the translator of my new best friend from a recent campaign. It's a fabulous way to meet people. So in Lynn, we registered, I think, a couple of thousand people. It was clearly the difference in the whole congressional election of Congressman Taney, who represents us all very, very well. So that's number two. So, and that's hard work. All political campaigns is hard work, but you can have a lot of fun doing it too. We had a massive voter registration effort through the Highlands Coalition and the unions and everybody. We had 77 people out in one day. You know how many people we registered? 77. Amazing. In other words, I think that's a low number. We ended up with a high number. The registration, I think, is done better in halls like this, at meetings where activists are, and get the people registered. Use your list. Go out and find people. Thirdly, Claire Crane and Diana Kerry have asked me to run a forum at Ford School on how to do all of this stuff. We're going to do soon, this spring, you're all invited. That's it. Under 1 minute.
Yo conozco al señor que acaba de hablar, se llama Jim Carrigan, es un abogado aquí por la ciudad, tiene su práctica aquí en la ciudad. Yo trabajé con él en una de las campañas y una de las cosas que son importantes si quieren ayudar, si quieren ser involucrados acerca de ayudar a un político en su campaña, es que una de las cosas buenas es que tengan alguien que pueda trasladar los idiomas. Otras de las otras cosas son que si ustedes ayudan a un político con la campaña de ellos, como si van ahí, agarran firmas, si se paran en las tardes con los signos, si hablan con los periódicos, que si nomás les ayudan acerca de las cosas de las campañas, siempre van a tener un amigo en este político. Todo, 7% del tiempo, ustedes son como activistas, están empezando una carrera con los políticos. So, eso es una de las cosas que primero se necesita que hacer, es ayudar en una campaña. Segundamente, las cosas del voto de registro es una de las primeras cosas que son centrales. el señor ahorita habló de Congressman Tierney, es un señor que ha representado la ciudad aquí en Lynn muy bien, y nosotros cuando estábamos en la campaña de él, agarramos como 2,000 firmas para él, y él ha representado a nuestra ciudad muy bien, y es una de las otras cosas que nosotros le ayudamos a hacer. Y también trabajando con otras organizaciones como el Highland Coalition, trabajando con ellos, asegurar que vayamos en cosas como aquí para poder agarrar más firmas que la gente que está corriendo por las cosas políticas. Si en este cuarto podemos agarrar 77 firmas, son 77 firmas que gente que se va a involucrar, a lo mejor van a ir a votar. Y tercer, con la principal de la escuela Ford, Claire Klein, and Diane who?
Diana Kerrigan.
Y Diana
She's
Kerrigan.
from North Shore Community College.
Y Diana Kerrigan.
By the way, Congressman Tierney's going to speak at this series too.
At this forum?
Yes.
Okay. So vamos a, el señor que está en el congresismo, el señor Tierney, también está presente. El señor Kerrigan va a tener una junta en la escuela Ford con otra señora que se llama Diane Kerrigan también, que trabaja en Ocho Community College, y van a agarrar al congresador Tierney, que va a venir a hablar y a hablar a las cosas que I just lost my AirPod. Van a hablar a cosas de...
2 minutes, Laura.
I know. Vamos a hablar de cosas que nos importan a nosotros en nuestra ciudad en la escuela Ford, y la principal va a abrir sus puertas para asegurar que estos forums puedan pasar.
And I also want to add something else. Don't forget to add what he was saying. We also belong to end-to-end, neighbor to neighbor.
Oh,
We
yeah.
also help with the voting and
Yes, I'm
for
sorry.
the community. So come out and vote. No se olviden que nosotros pertenecemos al grupo de vecinos que también ayudamos para que también la campaña hispana votaran para que se hiciera el logro.
I got a little bit of a break.
Votando en Massachusetts.
Hi, I just wanted to follow up with what Jim was saying. My name is Ryan Matthews. I'm Congressman Tierney's campaign manager. And I think one of the problems that a lot of times communities of color have with getting engaged is when it comes time to hire people who are working on the campaigns, people don't make an effort to go into those communities and actually find people who can work full-time and have the ability to do that on the campaign. And that's something that we're going to be very committed to make sure that we do. Not right now, but over the next couple months, we will be hiring our field organizers, who will be the people whose full-time job it is to go out and organize the communities in the 6th district. We want to make sure that we ask anybody who's interested in being considered for one of those positions to get in touch with the campaign and let us know. Over the next month and a half or so is when we'll start hiring those positions. So if anybody here is able to do that, please let me know, or particularly if you know anybody who would be interested in being considered for one of those positions, get in touch with me at the campaign or Peter Panos. My name is Ryan Matthews. We would love to meet you.
El señor Ryan Matthews, él está manejando la campaña del congresista Tierney, y lo que él está diciendo es que una de las cosas que son más importantes es que ellos siempre están activamente buscando a gente que les pueda ayudar con la campaña, y durante este mes ellos van a tratar de agarrar activistas en la comunidad, esta comunidad, para ver quién quiere voluntar su tiempo. Ellos saben que la gente trabaja, y esta posición que ellos están buscando específicamente le van a pagar a la gente. So ellos van a estar tomando aplicaciones durante este mes para asegurar quién va a tomar esta posición. Ryan Matthews es el señor que está manejando la campaña, pero también hay otro señor que se llama Peter Panos, que también va a tomar estas aplicaciones. Ron Mendez.
Hi, I just wanted, Ron Mendez, I just wanted to just sort of follow up on the question that was asked, if we're still there. What kind of keeps us apart, what can bring us together? And I thought, just to share my own personal story, I became involved with the Lynn Democratic City Committee back in 2006, when I was a supporter of Deval Patrick, and still am. I love the governor, but In 2006, I wanted to see him get elected, so I came to the Lynn Democratic City Committee, and I was welcomed with open arms to help support the campaign of Deval Patrick at that time. And I got to know a lot of people that I would have never gotten to know before. And that's what I like about getting involved. And I just wanted to share that because that's what a lot of many people can do. If they want to not just get involved to advance their own candidate or because of the candidate they believe in, but you also get the opportunity to meet a lot of other people that might be from different backgrounds, and there's a great opportunity for that in Lynn. And you can do that through the Democratic City Committee, through getting involved locally, and that's what I wanted to share, but it's so important that we all have to do is get involved in the process. I mean, vote, definitely vote, but get involved in the process during the campaign, and even when campaigns are over, stay involved, and that way we can come together as different communities, but come together as one force in the city and work together. So that's what I just wanted to say.
That's good. So, Ron Mendez acaba de decir que una de las cosas que, regresando a la pregunta, ¿qué es lo que nos separa y qué es lo que nos sigue juntos? Y una de las cosas que Ron Mendez se hizo involucrado en el Party Democrático aquí en Lynn. Y una de las cosas del 2006 lo que hizo es ayudó al gobernador Patrick con su campaña, y eso es algo que le interesó a él. Él conoció a mucha gente durante esta organización democrática aquí en Lynn. Y cuando él se hizo involucrado en esta organización, lo que él dijo es que cuando él empezó, la gente no es que no lo vieron, ellos lo invitaron, fueron muy amables con él. Él dijo que se hizo, cuando estaba involucrado en esas campañas, se quedó involucrado en las campañas después de que las campañas terminaron. Y una de las cosas que él recomienda es que necesitan que continuar ser involucrados, no parar ser involucrados en estas cosas, que voten, que sigan a votar, y que consiguiendo voluntad todos nos podemos quedar involucrados juntos. Es la mensaje que él tenía cuando él se involucró con esta organización democrática aquí en Lynn.
We'll have one or two more comments. Sir.
Hi, my name is Angel Geraldino. And something that I wanted to say concerning your question, going back to the question and to this point, and it's something that each and every candidate, and whoever's here working for any political candidate for any election, doesn't matter who it is, has to take in consideration, because behind us there's a group of people observing you very closely. The reason why I'm saying this is because we are tired of the same speech and same rhetoric over and over and over. We as a community have to go back to the drawing board and find out exactly what it is. We come together time and again, and we talk about the same issue without a solution. We all know the issue, but there's not a solution. So we have to go back to the drawing board to see how we can address those issues. Now, to the politician point, you see that every politician has a voting list with accurate phone numbers. They know how to reach voters. But once the election passes and once they win those elections, they don't use those phone numbers to call those people again and find out what their issues are. They should have a group of people finding out how those people that voted for them are doing. And ask those people directly, what can I do to help out your community? Another thing is, and I'm gonna say in Spanish because I speak Spanish as well. So another thing is, we do a lot of different type of events within the community, and we always see somebody representing that candidate. We never see the candidate. We never see the politician. We send an invitation. We never see our representative there. I have seen, and I organize plenty of events. There's only one person that I can name that was there, and he was running for mayor of the city of Lynn for the last election. I canceled the meeting, and he still showed up. The only person. We always see somebody that is sent by the candidate or by the politician itself.
You're going to translate now.
Okay, en Spanish. Una de las cosas que está pasando y en la cual es donde nos estamos equivocando nosotros como miembros de la comunidad es cada vez que nos reunimos a hablar de los problemas que tiene la ciudad. Todo el mundo sabe los problemas que tiene la ciudad, pero no hacemos absolutamente nada. Siempre hablamos de lo mismo, y nos damos para atrás a ver qué podemos hacer para cambiar eso. Concerniente a lo político, y eso no es un secreto para nadie, cada vez que tenemos un evento, siempre, y cuando digo los políticos, no me refiero a María Carrasco, porque el caso de María Carrasco es diferente. Aparte de que es un político, es un miembro muy cercano a la comunidad, sea o no sea política. Me refiero a los políticos grandes que son elegidos en la ciudadanía. I'm not talking about specifically about Maria Carrasco, because that's a person that is really involved with the community. I'm talking about the big guys, the one that making the big money, the one that makes the more impact, or that could make a bigger impact in the community. When you see those people, I guarantee you any money that if I put together an event and we have tyranny in there, there's going to be a few people that are going to be able to identify him. Well, probably because it's white. It's going to be different than everybody in the crowd. And they're going to know it because of that. So, huh?
That's it, done. Time's up.
Okay, let me finish my thought. Anyway.
So let somebody else go, then you come back up later.
Say that again?
Let somebody else go, then you come back later.
But there was people that speak more longer than I did.
I understand that. I apologize for not, I'm not gonna have that kind of issue. What we're gonna do is ask you to have a seat.
Yeah.
And come back to you, okay?
That's exactly my point.
Okay.
That's exactly my point.
Come back to you.
You don't like what I'm saying?
No,
You cutting me out. No, it's okay. I understand. I understand how it works.
I've been slacking, and you know what? When
It's
you
okay.
slack,
It's
everybody
okay.
take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm big enough knowing it's time to stop slacking.
I
Has nothing to do with that, okay?
It's okay.
Okay, we're just about done. Yes.
No, I can't finish my thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Staying in tune with the first question, one of the what is the value and challenges? One of the challenges that I see is we as the community, we need to understand each other's struggle so we can all come together and present it in the proper way and at the proper time. So if you don't know my struggle, I don't know your struggle, we can't come together and come up with a solution that's going to benefit everyone. Because it's just not about you, it's not about me, it's about us. That's what we need to stay and focus on, about us. Us. Us.
Una de las cosas que nosotros necesitamos que enfocarnos es, una de las dificultades que nosotros tenemos en esta comunidad es que no entendemos las dificultades como nosotros tenemos en diferentes culturas y necesitamos que aprender a entendernos unos mismos primero antes de poder expresar cosas que no entendemos que están pasando. Y lo que la señora acaba de explicar es que necesitamos que enfocarnos en las cosas que nos afectan a nosotros primero y luego entendernos y luego poder hacer una resolución acerca de lo que está pasando en la comunidad. ¿No more? Or two more?
Two more comments. The lady behind you. Yes.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Nicole. Viendo la comunidad de Lynn, una población cementada, con su fortaleza y sus debilidades, me preocupa cómo crecer la comunidad, qué medida tomar política para captar a aquellos que sí están listos para endosarse y obtener el voto. ¿Qué política? Porque tenemos que concientizar y educar a la población. Tenemos que trabajar con esa población. ¿Qué enfoque? Me gustaría oír alguna opinión. Si se han enfocado y han pensado en captar a los nuevos votantes, porque ahí hay que hacer un buen trabajo. ¿Qué plantean? Gracias.
La señora, so Nicole, she wants to try to figure out, Lynn is a very diverse city. She wants to try to figure out how new and up-and-coming politicians can capture the new voters. How are we going to be able to empower people that are newly registered to vote, or just the voters that are voting on, to get out there and to the polls and vote for these candidates? How do we know who votes, how do we get new voters to vote? And that's like a question for people.
Good point.
Good point.
It's not that we'll answer that tonight, but that is one of the things we need to address.
My name is Ekaterina Penachakis, and I'd like to thank Brotherhood for inviting so many different people coming here tonight. I think that's very beautiful. Here's a suggestion, a solution, possibly. I would love to see the beauty of this unity, that it's warm and welcoming in politics. So what I envisioned is an international commission made of diverse people of the community, having this two-way communication between the politics in our local municipality and the community, kind of tying that together as to kind of oversee and communicate with our local government, to have different communities, like different cultures on this board. And it doesn't have to be limited to a certain amount of people. It could be expansive as to the richness of our large community. That's just one of my wishes. And I think we could accomplish this whether we can talk to some of the councilmen to create the commission, or start a petition to open a public hearing to create one. That's just one of my wishes.
So, la señora Carolina Pentakis quiere darle gracias a esta organización de Brotherhood por tenernos aquí y unirnos ahorita. Una de las sugestiones que ella tiene es crear una comisión universal aquí en la ciudad para averiguar con gente diversa, que no haga que puede ser cualquier gente que quiera participar sin tener un número específico quien puede participar, que si podemos ir al consulado aquí de la ciudad y hacer esta comisión para que la gente pueda unirse, la gente que tenga muchos diferentes culturas puedan venir a tratar de resolver este problema acerca de cómo vamos a agregar más gente que se pueda registrar para votar.
Thank you. Jim, you want to?
I just want to comment on the statement that was made by Congressman Taney. Congressman Taney, if we polled everybody in this room, I think most of us would agree on most of the social justice issues. Congressman Taney is always there fighting for us with his brain and with his guts. And he's in Lynn more than most people that you know. So I think you diminish him when you make a comment like the comment you made.
Well, I got to defend myself. It's not on diminishing. It's that I have held multiple events, including fundraisers for charity events, and we keep on inviting him and inviting. Yes, he has a busy schedule, which he also uses the time when he's running for office. He finds the time while he's running for office to go and see the people. So how come he doesn't find the time? How come he doesn't find time to go and see us when he's not running for office?
He's always
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You know, this is good. Bill, folks, this is good. If we're going to work together, we have to have an opportunity to express our different experiences.
And by the way, you know that I have worked with you. You know how I work, and you know that the good work that we did with the guy's name now. Help me out.
I'll cool down.
You know?
John's my friend. Listen, it's hard to be, this is a good discussion. It's really hard to be a politician. You have to go to Washington, you have to do the job. You have to learn a whole variety of issues. You have to put up with lobbyists and the other party, the Republicans, are going crazy in Washington. And then you have to come back to 39 communities in this district, and you have to meet with constituents, you have to put up with complaints, you have to deal with constituent service. He meets with groups all over the district, especially in Lynn. So,
I understand that, but here's the thing. He does not work for Washington. He does
No,
not work for
he
the.
knows that.
Let me finish, because I'll let you
Sorry.
finish. He does not work for Washington. He does not work for the lobbyists. He works for us.
Okay, on what?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not the right conversation.
He worked for us.
Folks, this is good. It's good that this kind of dialogue is happening, because there's a sense that it was expressed early about how folks in communities of color perceive the political world. And in fact, a number of people have distributed data that shows how in Lynn, the school is 78% students of color, and the school administration is, 75% not folks of color, or how the distribution of people in various departments and so on. There are different ways in which people experience the political reality. And, and there are going to be these kinds of points of views in conflict. We need to, if we're going to work together, we need to be able to do that. And good thing that we have Bart Akers, who's going to be the keeping us at arm's length and at peace. But this is going to happen. That in itself is not a bad thing, because if we're not honest with each other, we will not make progress. Politics, we all know, is about power. It's about power. And the way that power is expressed in a variety of different ways. And one of the reasons that we've come together as communities of color is to try to better understand how to access and how to access the power, and also how to express the power that we have. For me, for this tonight, just your being here is a statement of power, because the politicians will be aware that there were X number of people at a certain place talking about various things. One of the things that I would ask that we need to do is also, as they say, put up the mirror. We have to look at ourselves and at the community. And where we have sometimes not as many people voting as we would like, as we have people who have been beaten down so much they just dismiss the whole thing. Well, when we don't register, when we don't vote, when we don't show up, then there is, we don't have the power.
Right.
So it is up to us in this room to figure out how we are going to address the folks who do have the power and who are managing it. And the good thing is that the Democratic Party has said, we want to involve communities of color. And they've hired the daughter of a Black Panther to organize this around the state. That's a good thing. And so we have to do, there's a lot of frustration, because this is not your first meeting like this. And many of them have gone and then petered out. But this is a start. And thank you for stating your point of view. Folks are going to disagree with it. Thank you for stating your point of view. Folks have had different experiences. But we've got to find the ways in which we're going to have that conversation, maybe some kind of commission, maybe other ways in which we're going to do it. Yes, sir.
Quick question to you, Ralph. What's the next step?
Well,
where do we go from here? What's the next step?
You're right. What is the next step? Those of us who've been working on this have some ideas, but our point was we'd like ideas to come from the folks here. What is it that, tonight is just a start. Tonight was not problem solving. Tonight was just finding out who are we and who's here, and also who's not here. I mean, there's some folks who got the word and they had conflicting meetings, and others, and they're not here. But there's some folks who just weren't reached, and we need to give thought to who's missing and how do we get them here. So let me just turn it to you for a second or two and ask you, what would you like the next step to be? Yes, sir.
I
Go ahead.
think that the next step to be is hold our representatives accountable.
Right,
That's what I
okay.
think we should do.
We talked about that, and one of the ways, in fact, I think someone had mentioned that, if the people in this room, and each of us probably represent a dozen other people, if we came together and we said to almost any of the folks certainly who are running for office, and all of the folks who are in office, in fact, Darrell did it when he had a forum, a debate between the mayor candidates. If we said, we folks of color in Lynn want to have you come meet with us, listen to our concerns, and tell us how does that fit into your agenda, into your activities, those folks would be here. So that holding them accountable as a start is one way, is one thing that we could do.
Lynn is a great community. We are a community. We're a diverse community. I think we all understand that piece of it. But y lo digo en español después. It's a great piece of it. We all have that clarity, and we all have what our issues that we want to bring to the table. However, you're not going to get heard, and I think Mr. Kerrigan, I learned this from you during a most recent campaign, was this. As an activist, my job was to go out there and knock on the door of people and try to get them out there to vote. There are over 50,000 people that are registered to vote here in Lynn, and only 50% showed up to the last, mayoral, to vote. So my job as an activist, for 2 hours, I went out there to vote, and I got over 40 people to go out there and vote in my district that I was representing, because I was firm on my issues, and I wanted to communicate what I wanted to communicate, and they went out to vote. So you guys, if we all here went to our families and their friends and their friends of friends and their friends of friends, you're going to get people aware of what your issues are, and you're going to get people to go out there to vote. So we all understand that but we all need to just come together under this umbrella that we are a community, and we're a very good community, and we need to kind of like preserve that piece of it, that we're not fighting against each other, that we're kind of collaborating. Different issues, but same things. En español, lo digo, nomás que Lynn es una comunidad muy diversa. Nosotros tenemos el poder acerca de, podemos ir durante campañas políticas, tocar en puertas, agarrar que gente pueda votar, agarrar que a decirle qué son las cosas que nos preocupa aquí de la comunidad, cómo podemos ayudar a esta comunidad, sacar a los que vayan a votar. Cuando yo estaba corriendo una campaña con un señor que acaba de perder su candidacia, en 2 horas yo pude agarrar a 40 gente que vaya a ir a votar, porque yo misma me hice responsable acerca de esos votos. Ustedes también se pueden hacer responsables de esos votos. Necesitamos que preservar la unificación en Lynn, que todos estamos unidos. Sí tenemos diferentes puntos de vista, pero también necesitamos que confrontarnos juntos, porque juntos podemos agarrar más. Si estamos peleando, la ciudad se ve como se ve mala, y necesitamos que asegurar que podemos hacerla todo juntos y con paz, para que también cuando la gente hable de Lynn no diga, oh Lynn, esto es lo que está pasando, diga que es una ciudad buena. That's all.
Any other ideas, suggestions on next steps?
I have something to say to him. I thought the same thing growing up. Candidates never do nothing for us. They say these false promises. So I told myself, I'm going to be part of politics. So I went to the caucus. I got elected as an alternative delegate. I'm in the process of becoming a delegate to the Democratic State Convention. I talked with Ms. Agnes and Mr. Charlie Gallo, who is the secretary of the Lynn Democratic City Committee, and became a part of it. Now I'm a part of the Lynn Democratic City Committee. I'll be attending my first meeting Monday, March 10th at 7 p.m. at the Hibernian Hall. And she said, everyone here is more than welcome. You don't have to be, and you can talk to her, become part of the Democratic City Committee. I want to become in politics, hopefully one day become the mayor of Lynn. And I'm working with Charlie Gallo, who's running for state rep, and I'm getting a feel of how it is to be part of a campaign, what it is like to be a politician, because I thought like you all the time, oh, all these false promises, well, I'm gonna stand up and make a difference, and we have to start somewhere.
All right.
So,
I am a Hispanic male, Puerto Rican, and I always thought the same as you. So I'm stepping up
thank
for our
you.
Latino community.
You've energized the group and presented a lot of ideas.
I have something else to say.
Nosotros, aquí habemos un grupo que nosotros pertenecemos a Lynn Communities. Nosotros siempre apoyamos la persona que va con la misión de Neighbor to Neighbor. Aunque he participado muchas veces en algunos grupos, yo me quedo observando y nunca ha sido mencionado. Pero en toda la campaña, en todas las problemáticas que existe en la comunidad, vecino a vecino siempre está detrás, siempre está dando la cara, sea en las ayudas que se le ha dado a la persona, cualquier campaña que se ofrezca. Nosotros nunca cerramos las puertas a la persona para lo que se quieran involucrar, darle entrenamiento, cómo sacar a la persona a votar, cómo educarla, cómo involucrarla, cómo nosotros nos enfrentamos a situaciones, a desafíos, para que esa persona pueda salir a votar. Entonces, una de las cosas es que si el Partido Demócrata, yo no soy delegada, no, primera vez que vengo a la reunión, y sí lo quiero ser aunque no sepa inglés, no lo digo de orgullo porque yo no sepa inglés, simplemente no sé inglés aunque quiero aprender, pero eso a mí no me da vergüenza de retratarme o avergonzarme de hacer cualquier cosa. Estoy dispuesta a ayudar a la comunidad, estamos dispuestos, Neighbor to Neighbor, pero una de las cosas es que Neighbor to Neighbor en esta comunidad se menciona poco y donde quiera está. Entonces, en esta campaña que se va a comenzar, nosotros queremos que también la campaña de Neighbor to Neighbor sea una de las prioridades, porque a cualquier hora nosotros estamos ayudando a las personas, a quien quiera.
Liz is going to translate.
My name is Isidra Frias, and I'm a member of Neighbor to Neighbor, and I realized that as we're talking about what we can do in terms of next steps, Neighbor to Neighbor is an organization that's always there to help people who need it, but is mentioned not often enough. In terms of the help that we offer people to involve them in the political process, to get them out to vote, and to make sure that people have what they need in order for their voices to be heard. So as we think about moving into the campaign season and the gubernatorial election, I would also like Neighbor to Neighbor to be considered there, not only because we're always out in the community helping people who need it, but also because the work that we do dovetails with the work of running a gubernatorial campaign.
So, in terms of next step, we want to incorporate the things that have been said tonight and what people have suggested. And so want to encourage anyone who's interested. There's the Democratic Convention in June. There are forms about applying to be an add-on delegate. That's one way to get involved. The other is the Lynn City Committee will be meeting. That's another way to get involved. And to build on the energy of this group, where Daryl, Maria, myself, Rick Yorka, Rosemary Sargent, and others have been planning this. If folks here are interested in being part of that planning group, to plan our next meeting and how do we build on the energy for tonight, let Daryl, Maria, or I know, and we can come together and build on this. It's very important that we move beyond just the conversation. We all know what the needs are. We all have our skepticism about what can happen. But I guess many of us who have been involved and who never thought Obama would ever be elected have a sense of that change is possible, but it really happens when we work together. And when, you know, and when we put our voices together, I mean, I've seen the history of what Neighbor to Neighbor has done in so many of the campaigns and knocking on doors. And when they do it and the Democrats are doing it, change is possible. So I want to thank everyone for your time and energy and coming out tonight. This is not the solution. This is the beginning of a process that will direct us to addressing the many problems facing our community. So thank you one and all. Maria.
A mí se me olvidó que yo tenía que traducir esto en español, pero en pocas palabras lo que queremos decir es que vamos a querer que si ustedes están dispuestos a formar un equipo para poder trabajar y después tener una reunión, por favor que den los nombres, pueden dárselo a Abdal, me lo pueden dar a mí o a Raf. También queremos decirles que nosotros sabemos que es difícil poder lograr las cosas, pero nadie pensaba que Obama podía ser presidente en este país y lo fue. Entonces vamos a envolvernos. Hay una reunión que hay en el comité, el Partido Demócrata, el día 10. A todos los latinos quiero decirles que tenemos una reunión el día 15. El día 15 a las 5 de la tarde en el 191 de la North Common hay una reunión. Queremos establecer aquí en el North Shore lo que se llama North Shore Latino Caucus. I just invited Latino people because we're going to have another meeting, also the 15th. Pero nosotros estamos bien contentos de que esto se pudo lograr, de que estamos aquí. Le damos las gracias. No se vayan antes de darnos los nombres si quieren estar envueltos en ese equipo que queremos formar, por favor. Muchísimas gracias.